Hey, what's going on, guys? All right. So, all right, everything's good. Welcome back. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for being patient for me. And I was just setting up, again, working with a struggle bus computer. So, just trying to do my best here. But I said yesterday that I felt like we were gonna dwindle down on Candace Owens, but unfortunately, we are all returning from Christmas break. Candace Owens, she held this impromptu space on X yesterday, and it did not go the way that I think she thought it was. And I really, truly do believe that it is starting to crumble for Candace Owens. Um, Let me just double check my audio really quick before we jump into things. I don't want to. Yep, it's working. Cool. I don't want to jump into things and I'm muted. All right. So lots to cover today because again, like I said, like Candace's empire does seem to be crumbling, and it is interesting that the tide is shifting. If you guys remember, especially for those of you who have been tagging along with what I've been saying this entire time, even before Charlie Kirk's assassination, you guys can go on my YouTube channel, you can see that I was calling her out. Like this was way before all of this time. And when I started calling her out, it was really like about 2 to 2.5 years ago when I started waking up about her, when she gave some avid support to the Tate brothers. And, this was a long time coming because she just got too grandiose. She shot up to the number one podcast in America, and her head just got way too big. She got way too big for her britches, and now everything is going to crumble because even her own loyal supporters are starting to turn on her. So, like I said yesterday, she held this space on X, formerly known as Twitter, and it did not go so well for her. So let's actually start with some content here. Now, I am going to cover at least just one thing about yesterday we covered the daycare fraud that was uncovered by Nick Shirley, a 23-year-old citizen journalist. And ever since that document, I think it unleashed on Saturday or Sunday over the weekend, this past weekend, and ever since then, it has been mayhem. Like, people have been digging into their local daycares, just uncovering so much fraud, so many questionable things, and, there are just so many things online now, so many citizen journalists, people who are looking into their own local districts. Ohio is like the next hotbed that people have been investigating. Let me get this quick. And it has just been mayhem online. And of course, it's not the same, of course, the same daycare, but it is the same thing over and over. So I'm not going to cover too much. But this is one that I saw today. By the coerced nurse. How does one closed Somalian shell organization have only over 40 daycares in Columbus, Ohio? How do 40 or more begin on the same exact day? How much funding are they each receiving from the state? Are they legitimate child care centers? Not so proud my state would allow this to happen. Okay. And she attaches the screen record of the daycare centers being basically exposed that, they're receiving all this funding and all of these centers are popping up out of nowhere. And there's a lot more citizen journalists that are going door to door to these daycare centers, whether they are in Minnesota, Ohio, I'm seeing Washington, I think Idaho, like so many of them are starting to get exposed. But you see here that this is insane. Like, there are so many daycare fraud instances going on that people are uncovering. Excuse me. Um, so yeah, it's just wild. More to come. I'm really looking forward to how um this is going to be resolved nationally, like justice wise. I did see that Kash Patel had agents raiding these daycare centers in Minnesota, so more to come on that. All right, so let's pivot to the main topic of the night, of course, because we can't do it without documenting the downfall of Candace Owens, all her slander, all her vile rhetoric against certain ethnic groups, religious groups, um, slandering people who orbited Charlie Kirk the closest, his family, his loved ones, his friends, at least insinuating that they had some sort of foreknowledge of his assassination, the planning of his assassination. All of this stuff has been vile, and I don't see how anybody, with what I just said, can't see that that is wrong. There's going to be a trial. There's going to be a full review of evidence, and we just haven't gotten there yet. So for anybody to say that there are holes in the story, they don't know what evidence is being withheld by the FBI because there is an ongoing homicide investigation. And so this is what me and many other people have been saying for a long time. And now that we're approaching like 4 months now, yeah, I think it's like 3 to 4 months. Now it's finally catching up to Candace Owens. I wanted to play this video by Nathan Livingston. This is just a review of many of her contradictions, things that she goes against herself with her own words. Take a listen to this.
What about his burial? How come we haven't seen anything about his burial? We saw so much and then we saw nothing. And the reason that's like a big hush-hush secret is because Charlie had a Catholic funeral mass and he is buried in a Catholic cemetery.
But pre the meeting with Erica, you repeatedly questioned why we weren't being told where Charlie Kirk is buried, or even if he has been buried yet. Did you get those answers?
You have the wrong commentator who questioned that. I think that was Milo Yiannopoulos.
You've never questioned, you've never asked where Charlie's buried?
Nope.
Yeah, but if this were on the left and somebody were accusing Charlie Kirk of his wife having murdered him, I assume that you would be talking about it.
Is that what Candace is accusing Erica of?
Yes.
Of murdering her own husband?
She's accusing TPUSA insiders and other members of the right wing, including Seth Dillon, of being involved in the murder of Charlie Kirk, yes.
It's just, I don't even know how to respond to it because it just never happened. Realizing that nothing in Charlie's life was real. It's just something that keeps me up at night. Just nothing in his life was real. The assassination of Charlie Kirk was something akin to a regicide, right? The assassination of a king to install a new ruler who the king would have never approved of. It's so crazy.
She has accused us of lying about Charlie wanting Erica to take over for him if he died.
Never happened. And it just so happened that Charlie Kirk kept notebooks and diaries. He was so diligent that he wrote down his succession plan featuring who he wanted to take over for the organization in the event of his untimely death. Like, he just, in the third notebook, he was like, oh, and if I accidentally get shot on campus, here's what you should do. Call Erica. And then after you call Erica, come find this notebook. And if during this process of our imagination, common sense comes on and we're like, but wait, Charlie, wasn't he like a boy genius? He's a pretty bright kid. Wouldn't he have maybe formalized that succession plan outside of like a diary? But no, he wanted to put it in these notebooks. And then the plan was to guilt us, I think, to try to haunt us with the ghost of Charlie's notebooks that we're never going to be allowed to read, but we're supposed to accept that they most definitely read. Like, for sure. Never happened. I knew it was big. I didn't have the players. I certainly didn't suspect Turning Point USA would be, as I believe, involved in a cover-up. And we can talk about what the motives are of that. They could be financial motives. It doesn't necessarily mean they were involved in plotting to kill him. And I've never said that. Cam Higbee is on the payroll of Turning Point USA beginning in August of this year. So in theory, Cam Higbee, who was laughing off the idea of an assassination attempt, is being paid by the very organization that just had its leader assassinated in broad daylight in front of the entire world. It doesn't necessarily mean they were involved in plotting to kill him. And I've never said that. 'Cause I was in this aggrieved stage and I really didn't poke my head up until weeks later when I could stop crying about it every second. Charlie Kirk, my friend, is dead. First, this is fantastic that Preborn is doing this. To remind you guys about Pure Talk. Also reminding you guys about American Financing. Also reminding you guys about GNO Land. Also telling you guys about Just Thrive. You can head over to our website, CandaceOwens.com. You can sign up, buy yourself a hat. I'm not going to stop unless Erica Kirk asks me to stop.
We were told that if we said stop, they would stop. And we said stop. And I'll say it again. Please stop.
Please stop. Please stop lying. But as soon as she tells me what it is I've lied about, I will cease lying immediately.
I mean, these are all words from Candace Owens against Candace Owens. I find it interesting that all of a sudden, that people are starting to turn against her. And why people are starting to turn against her? Because they're starting to see what a kook she is. I want to answer this really quick. Let me just um, switch this really quick. I want to answer this comment because I do want to answer. I'm going to answer one clownish comment. And then I do see Candace bots, and I've never seen Candace bots in my chat, but now Candace bots are in my chat, and that's fine. I'm going to answer this clown comment right here. Nat, how many questioned you on your investigation on pizza or Balenciaga? You were investigating uncool things at one point in one time. Okay, here's the thing. There was concrete, verifiable evidence. And if I made any insinuations, I was 100% forthcoming with you guys. The Pizzagate thing, my own organization did its own investigation on some networks that were on Instagram that were literally using pizzas as emojis, as a code word for little boys and little girls, from what we saw. Okay. That thread still exists on Twitter. I screenshotted, I put verifiable proof that this was happening. The Pizzagate stuff was an investigation that my own team did. I still have the proofs. So for anybody to say like nobody questioned you, yeah, nobody questioned me because I had the proof. Anybody could go to those accounts and verify before Instagram took them down that they were indeed soliciting and advertising the exploitation of kids through the emoji of a pizza. That's not a hard science. That's just what happened. And then as far as Balenciaga goes, did we not see what Balenciaga had in the background? That he had a Michael Borman's book in the background. So for you to say, well, nobody questioned you. I know nobody questioned me. You want to know why? Because there was concrete proof that was irrefutable, you know? All the other things that all the other influencers, I'm the one who pointed out the Michael Borman's book. I was the one who did that. You guys can still go find that tweet on Twitter. I was the one who pointed it out. That tweet got like millions upon millions of views because it was irrefutable proof. All the other influencers, they pointed out the what was it, the CP court documentation that was found underneath a purse. People looked it up, people reversed that case, and they saw that this was pertaining CP, lessening or something orbiting CP. You know what I mean? So it's like, you are not going to tell me that me and Candace are on the same level, because the claims that I make, I gave you guys either irrefutable proof or I was honest with you guys. And I said, you know what? I don't have anything sensational. This doesn't lead anywhere. I don't have the answers, but this is what I found on this subject. I did that with Lincoln Park and Chester Bennington. I'm sorry, Lincoln Park, Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, on the big claim about them making this documentary on child trafficking. Okay. I particularly invested years of that research. Okay. I'm not just crowdsourcing crazy theories from lunatics online and saying that this is irrefutable proof and then slandering people and insinuating that they have some sort of foreign knowledge. Okay. I cannot stand the mind virus that is going around. I don't understand how you people just can't see it. This irritates me that you think that this is on the same level that Candace Owens is slandering his loved ones, his wife, his widow. His children have to grow up in this world that they didn't ask for. And there's people like you that are enabling this type of behavior. So this is why it irritates me that people are like, well, nobody questioned your content. You want to know why you didn't question my content? Because I put it together very well. Go back on my channel, go back on all these other videos and subjects, and you will see that I have put proof together. And then when I didn't have proof, I was honest. That's the difference. I'm honest and Candace is not. All right. So and any other clown comments that want to be made, you're blocked. Off. My goodness. My goodness. It's just insane to me that people are still out here, you know, um people are still out here like, well, nah, you never questioned Pizzagate because Pizzagate there are PDF files out there that utilize the pizza emoji to solicit children and content of children. It's verifiable. Even the FBI, they acknowledged this like last year. So there's irrefutable proof. Oh, it is so irritating that there are people out there okaying and enabling this stupid behavior of Candace Owens and her minions. And I'm going to show you guys that her minions are starting to turn on her. Why? Because they're starting to realize that all her claims are not they're not backed with credible evidence. So let's get to it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I had to rant, but I cannot. I hate that people okay this behavior of Candace Owens, this vile, sadistic, satanic behavior of slandering all these people. And they're like, well, I didn't ever question, you never questioned we never questioned you on your research. You want to, because I put irrefutable evidence, or I was honest. That's the answer. Okay. It's so irritating to me that people to this day are still supporting Candace Owens. How? You have got to be blinded. You have got to be blinded. I'm sorry. I'm crashing out. I cannot stand this behavior. I hate the way that people have circulated all of these lies, and in the process they're calling you dishonest because you're pointing out all of the discrepancies. They're calling you dishonest and you a bully, when Candace Owens is literally insinuating that people orbiting Charlie Kirk had some sort of foreknowledge of his death or of his assassination. That to me is just wild to me. I just crazy. All right. So after months of this, this is one of her like top influencers, Evan Kilgore, who, by the way, is still an anti-Semite. He still spreads this rhetoric, but he was cheering Candace on. He was spreading her content. He was doing all these things. And suddenly, because of her last guest, Mitch Snow, who has been founded to be one of the biggest pathological liars, allegedly, there are accounts out there that say that he has frauded people out of money. Candace Owens, despite not doing checks on this guy, has raised now close to $200,000 for this dude. And he was the one, his name is Mitch Snow. He was the one that made this insinuation that he saw Erica Kirk. It's like this crazy theory, like Erica Kirk, Brian Harpool. I think this I forget his name, but Erica Kirk's guy that she dated a long time ago, something Colbert or something like that. That he saw them along with Senator Amadei uh, at this like military, whatever, this military site, and it was the day before a major meeting, and what she's insinuating is that what everybody thinks she's insinuating is that maybe Erica Kirk and Brian Harpole, Charlie's head security, had something to do, some foreknowledge, some planning in Charlie Kirk's assassination. That's what a lot of masses of her audience thought that she was talking about. And so now Evan Kilgore is basically saying that he can't support this, even though he was the one who circulated all of this mess about, all of the associates of that Candace Owens insinuated Charlie Kirk's friends, his loved ones, his wife, even like some of the most hurtful things that she insinuated, her fans, his fans would take this and weaponize, mobilize threats, harassment, all of this stuff. So he said, "Good morning, everyone. This is over the Christmas break. I wanted to get on here and say something and know that I will open myself up on to thousands of hate comments for it." And he did. That's okay with me. What I want to let you know is that after a great deal of thought and conviction, I can no longer support the direction of real Candace Owens investigation. All right. Now, like I said, many of us caught on to this a long time ago, from the very beginning. Charlie Kirk, when he was assassinated and the memorial service, I watched all of the memorial service, all 6 hours of it. All of it. I watched all of it. It was so beautiful. It was moving. There was just such a stir of revival in the air. The church, the Christians, they were ready for this revival. And all of a sudden, it was swallowed up and shadowed by Candace Owens and her sensationalizing this entire thing. And now it's crumbling. Even so much so that one of her top influencers, we're gonna get to another one in just a second, Evan Kilgore had to jump ship. Okay. Now there's another one. Let me actually move this tab over here. There's another one named Morgan Ariel that also did the same thing. Now, Morgan Ariel is apparently best friends with this Evan Kilgore guy. And again, they were both really, really supporting Candace Owens in this entire endeavor to find out who killed Charlie Kirk, who had foreknowledge, who is a suspect individual. First of all, Candace Owens, like, let me say something really quick. Candace Owens is not a criminal investigator. Candace Owens is not a homicide investigator. She's not a detective. She's not a real thing. Okay. Um, the eh, my gosh, thank you. Thank you, Tanya. Uh, those of us who were sane with you, Indy, thank you so much. Um, read the Bible if you want truth. Amen. I agree with that. I agree with that. So, with that being said, um, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought because I got distracted. That's my fault. Um, so Morgan Ariel was one of these influencers like Evan Kilgore, and recently they both jumped ship. Now she said at one point it's just crazy because they use these mental gymnastics online, and it's like, why would you? These are written words. Like, you understand that? Like, you are actually writing these words. You're hitting send out to the internet, right? And it's going to show up on a feed somewhere, right? So anybody can go research your own words. Even if you say your own words on a podcast, people could go research your own words on a podcast. You get it? So it's like, why would you think that you can get away with saying one thing and then contradict it the next day? So Morgan Ariel is, again, one of these other anti-Semites, and she calls herself a Christian. So does Evan Kilgore, and this is what I'm talking about. I cannot stand the psyop because they are, number one, derailing so many people away from conversion and Christianity, and not only that, the new converts of Christianity, they're confusing them. Especially the newbies, like the newbies who are barely feeding themselves the word. And it's like this replacement theology and this anti-Semitism, this avid hate for Jewish people, normalizing that in the church. Like, that is the weirdest thing to me. I have never seen anything like this. And somebody like Morgan Ariel is doing the very thing. She's glamorizing the Mein Kampf of Hitler. She's doing all these things, saying all these things online. And of course, when they say Zionists, they also mean Jewish people. Like, they're just shielding themselves by saying Zionists. Now, this is one example of her contradicting herself, along with Candace Owens. We're going to see that in just a second. All of the Zionists got the call and are coming out to smear Candace Owens at the same time. Okay. I'm telling you, this is how these people were. They were defending Candace Owens vehemently through all of her lies, all of her smears, all of her slander. She says, this is what they always do. I just don't believe anything you say. We know who you work for. We know who cuts your checks. Okay. And you guys remember the spammy little comments, the spammy little comments of like $7,000. Who's paying you $7,000? All the bots, $7,000. I'm still waiting for my $7,000. Okay, I can really use $7,000. The homegirl needs a new computer. Okay, holler, give me $7,000. I don't have my $7,000. Okay. Um, so that was like the spammiest comments of all time recently. If you just pushed back even just a slight bit on Candace Owens and her rhetoric, you would find out her contradictions. You would point them out. You would illustrate them anyway, literally. In a literary way or in an audiovisual way. if you illustrated her contradictions, her lies, you would get bite back. You would get bitten by her supporters and her fans. And this is why Blake Neff, one of Charlie Kirk's friends and close associates of TPUSA, said the very thing, that these people, Candace Owens fans, are worse than Antifa. He said that, like, I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said that they're worse than Antifa because they take genuine enjoyment out of being disgusting to people. All right. So anyway, I'm getting off track. I'm going on a tangent here, but $7,000, who cuts your check? $7,000, right? And then all of a sudden, now that she's jumping ship on Candace Owens, she's saying there's this strange phenomenon online where people accuse you of being paid or sold out if you hold a difference in opinion. I have the right to think for myself. I have the right to believe what I want to believe. I have the right to say what I want to say. That is the point of free speech. It's like, girl, you did the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, people had the right to think about Candace Owens too. She asked questions. She said, I'm just asking questions, where it's like, we're just asking questions too. $7,000. You know what I mean? Like, Candace Owens can ask all the questions, but if we asked any of the questions, it was like we were automatically accused of being foreign agents. We were slandered as somebody who was getting $7,000 from BB. Like, just crazy. Like, these people are such hypocrites. They are, you know? And let me go back to this one right here. So I want to get to this because this comment, I want to address this comment right here. That now Scott Towner, he is a pastor, and he asked if we should be giving some sort of grace, some sort of, leeway for his repentance. He said, maybe as Christians, shouldn't we leave some room for genuine repentance? The Apostle Paul did the same and worse against the church before his road to Damascus moment. Shouldn't the same grace be extended to Evan? And while I do agree that there should be some sort of leeway for repentance, I also want to say that I don't think we should leave leeway to enable these people to go on further, because shortly after Evan Kilgore made that tweet, right, this tweet of him basically denouncing Candace Owens in her investigation, he said he should have listened to Nick Fuentes. So it's like, you can't leave one bad cause and join and attribute another bad cause as like the accreditation to your realization or anything like that. Now, Nick Fuentes, in my personal opinion, him going against Candace, I think they had beef from the very beginning, and he found that as an opportunity to dunk on Candace because he knew that she was lying. And he found an opportunity to leverage that. And so that way he could be counted amongst the people who were calling her out from the very beginning. I don't think that he is right from here. I think he's still an anti-Semite. I think he still has gross ideas. So no, I'm not. Yeah, I don't vibe with that at all. I should have listened to Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is still, very off base about his worldview, and I can't unite with that. You know what I mean? Um, all right. So let's move on. So Candace Owens held a space last night on Twitter, and it did not go the way that I think she thought it was going to go. Now here, I'm gonna play this clip right here. Now Harrison, I'm gonna bring up a tweet about Harrison. He is a host on Infowars, and Harrison, from at one point, I'm gonna show you the tweet, but Harrison made some sort of insinuation that he had a source that told him that Charlie Kirk couldn't say something about Jewish people or Israel because, or whatever, something like that, because he was afraid of what might happen. I'm paraphrasing, and I'm going to show you the actual tweet before I get to it. But now he's, I don't know if he still holds the same beliefs. People are now requesting that he gives sources to that tweet, although, we should have been requesting those sources like I did months ago. But if you guys have seen lately, Alex Jones has been calling Candace Owens out. I haven't showed you guys any of those clips because they're pretty long. But yeah, Alex Jones is like really going in on Candace Owens and calling her out. And that's crazy because if you're like one of the top conspiracy theorists, Alex Jones, and you're calling out Candace Owens as a liar. Like, there must be something really, really bad going on here. Okay. So Harrison Smith is a host with Infowars, who is this, that's the same organization that Alex Jones comes from. And because they are now, going on the offense to Candace Owens. Now, he is being more outspoken about it. And of course, he's getting some bites back on that by Candace Owens fans. Let's take a listen to what message he had for Candace Owens last night.
Are saying that basically these people were there to conspire to kill Charlie Kirk, right? I mean,
you can keep saying what you're saying, or you can listen to what I'm saying. But if you want to just say what you're saying, just say it and don't put it behind you're saying. Just say, hey, I'm Harrison and I'm saying, right? That's easier, I think. So what did you
okay.
say?
Hi, I'm Harrison. What I'm saying is that in 2 months, nobody is going to remember the name Mitch Snow or Fort Huachuca, and this is not going to go anywhere, and that this is a nothing burger. I just think it's an absolute nothing burger that's not going to lead anywhere. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. You can prove me wrong, but again, my whole thing has always been that this devolves into this question of like, was he there? Was he not there? And the whole time I'm just going, what does it matter? If the conclusion is that he's a complete liar, it's the exact same outcome as proving that these people were actually there, because so far you haven't connected it to the assassination in any way whatsoever, except that maybe this guy thinks that he saw people that are around Charlie Kirk. And my whole point is, obviously the insinuation is, I mean, again, when you're saying Erica Kirk was there, but not actually there on the day, but in the area, but not because of the assassination meeting, but it's like, okay, clearly the insinuation is that these people had something to do with the assassination, and you can make that claim or not, or pretend that you are, or pretend that you're not, but you obviously are. But
Whoops. I'm sorry. Did I shut that down?
to conspire to kill Charlie Kirk, right? I mean,
you can keep saying what you're saying, or you can listen to what I'm saying. But if you want to just say what you're saying, just
whatsoever, except that maybe this guy thinks that he saw people that you're not, but you obviously are. But like, that's all.
My bad, guys.
I don't really care about
Okay.
any of that.
Thanks,
But
Harrison.
you have to.
Thank you. Let's give somebody. I think
Okay.
just for you to say something clearly and obviously and clearly doesn't make it clear or obvious.
Okay.
I'm following this investigation. Charlie was assassinated. I'm going to take every step, and I'm going to say what I know at the exact time that I know it. So I cannot say that it was definitively an assassination meeting. I can say that I have a feeling about this meeting that if it is in fact Brian Harpole there and he's lying about that, then that's not good. It's not a good thing, because there's no reason to lie unless you have something to hide. But thank you so much.
Yeah. So Harrison is basically like, I don't think that what you're claiming or what Mitch Snow has claimed, and I think I did show you guys, go back on one of my streams. I actually showed a picture that I think the title is like Candace's guest just accused Erica. I think that's like along the lines of the title of that stream. But I went through some of the Mitch Snow, insinuations that Erica Kirk, Brian Harpole were at this military base with, this Nevada senator and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, why are you allowing this guy to say all this? And then you're going to pay him what, $200,000, not out of her own pocket, but she's crowdfunding $200,000, $250,000 for this guy. Basically in my personal opinion, Candace Owens doing that, crowdsourcing all that money for Mitch Snow, is so that he can get paid off for making the insinuation, because from that Monday, I believe that Candace Owens was threatened with legal action by Erica Kirk's attorney. And because she can't say these things, she had somebody else say these things. So that's my personal theory on that. That's what I personally think happened. So Harrison Smith is basically calling Candace out, saying, "Hey, like, you you're not."
You are saying that basically these people were there to conspire to kill Charlie Kirk, right? I mean,
you can keep saying what you're saying, or you can listen to what I'm saying. But if you want to just say what you're saying, just say it.
My bad. I think there's more. So let's actually just travel down a few on her time. This is Natalie Jean Biesner, and she has really, really, really great clips. Uh-oh, stuck. I think I'm stuck. Um, space last night, they just didn't go her way. They were contradicting her. She was contradicting herself. She really didn't get further from what she originally, like, her space was titled why for Hushuka matters all of a suddenly matters, something like that. And she really didn't do herself any favors with that live, or that with that space. Give me 1 second. I gotta this is Let me know if you guys can hear anything, or if this is completely blanking out, because it is blanking out for me. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. My bad. My bad. I don't know what just happened. Everything just blacked out. That's scary. And let me share my screen back with you guys. But yeah, that space that she did on X yesterday did not do her any favors whatsoever. None of this made her look good. None of this made her look favorable in the eye of the public. I'm gonna move on to a different clip, but this is what Harrison claimed. You guys see? Uh-oh. Here we go. So this is what Harrison claimed here. This was a couple months ago, and I believe, like, there was some sort of insinuation at the time. I can't remember. Let's take a look at this tweet. But he says, I am a pawn of God. I have no choice but to persist. And this is in a reference to pray for Harrison Smith and his family's safety. This was a day after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, September 11th, as you guys can see in this date. It says, Holy Spirit and angels of God guard him. After this post was made a while ago, he was the attention of blank. And this is the tweet. It says, I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them. And Harrison retweeted this entire thing. He said, I'm a pawn of God. I have no choice but to persist. And my question to Harrison, because it's like people make these ginormous claims of, that they know something, the same thing that Candace Owens does, and I asked Harrison, who once again is a host at Infowars, if he ever named the source, and if people just blindly trust him. And he said, it's not blind. People know I never lie. And I said, so who is it that told you that? And he said, someone I trust. I said, so let me get this straight. An anonymous source is the best you're going to do. That's your smoking gun. This is the exact same lazy tactic the left uses whenever they want to smear and persecute public figures. Roll out a phantom source, build a narrative in thin air, and hide behind, well, people don't lie. It's not credibility. It's cosplay journalism. If your entire case rests on invisible sources and self-proclaimed honesty, then you don't have evidence. You have fiction. Don't desecrate Charlie's cold body with your lies. So, and this was when was this? September 12th. I think this conversation, yeah, this was all September 12th. So this was 2 days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And that's what I'm talking about. Like since the beginning, it was like, you guys can't just make these gargantuan claims and not come through with some sort of evidence. You know what I mean? So now Harrison, I don't know if this is the thing that Harrison is trying to fight off now, because now after seeing that, Harrison is fighting off all these people, including Candace Owens, that apparently he had this source. It was an anonymous source. People just blindly trusted him, and now he's trying to fight off all of these claims. I'm reading this. Give me one second. Huh. Yeah. So I think they are talking about the Israel tweet that we just went through. Um, that Harrison claimed that he had a source that said that Charlie Kirk was afraid for his life because of Israel. So now he's being asked about this source, and he's being cornered and pressured for this information. And I don't know, like that's the thing. Like I think at one point Harrison Smith was like cheering Candace on. I just can't see how people didn't see it from the very beginning. I guess it's just people are that hungry, that parched for conspiracy theories, that they're willing to just override the critical thinking and override red flags, override all of these markers that something just this claims just isn't right, you know? And yeah, I mean, it's insane to me that it's up to this point where it's just the tables are being turned everywhere. The tables are being turned everywhere, and it's like you can't really escape your own lies. You know what I mean? And the Bible talks about this a lot about being found out. You know that everything that is in the dark is going to come out into the light. You know what I mean? And it's like people really do think that they are going to get away with this reprobate minded way of telling lies and just being inflated by that and just going on and on and on and on. You know what I mean? And a lot of these people claim to be Christian too. A lot of these people claim to be Christian. Um, Anyway, okay, my computer is acting cray cray. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end on that note. Thank you guys for thank you for hanging out, and thank you for um just being patient with me. Um it's crazy. It is crazy that people up to this point are like still defending Candace. I thought that most of these people were bots, honestly, but to see so many brainwashed people that are still to this day, defending Candace, like I cannot understand it. I cannot perceive it. How can you cheer somebody who is so vile, who is so not Christian, who is cursing people, who is saying all of these foul, vile things while you're saying that you're a Christian? I don't see how you can do that. I don't see how you can just sit here and feel comfortable with yourself, agreeing with her rhetoric. I can't like and you're convicted by the word, and you're convicted by God's spirit. You know what I mean? Like, and you're following God's principles, and you're, following the hands, you're being the hands and feet of Christ, and you believe all of this stuff, including, enabling her and her vile rhetoric. I don't see how you can do that. I just don't. How can you call yourself a Christian and you wrong, like, let's just say you're wrong. There's no, like, Candace has not proven any of these claims about the close people orbiting around Charlie Kirk, that they have had at least some sort of foreknowledge, that they're funny, and they, they have this sort of it's weird the way they're acting, like, all those things are not evidence. How can you sit there with yourself, say that you're a Christian, and not feel convicted that you're enabling this behavior? To me, that's just insane. It is insane to me that people sit there with the Christian label, and they, they live in a lie. They cheer on a lie. They still lie. They know that they're lying, and they're going to keep on lying. I don't see how you can do that. Candace has been caught so many different times lying and contradicting herself, and it just really ticks me off. This People like that really get me heated. I cannot stand it. So anyway, I love you guys. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve. I will not be here. I will be bringing in the new year. Um, so yeah, I won't be here. I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. I hope you are safe. Please don't drink and drive. Please call Uber. I know that they've got some Uber specials. They'll give you a free ride if you can't afford it. Please don't drive. Don't drink and drive. Don't get in a car with a drunk driver. And if you can, stay off the road. That's my biggest advice. Stay off the road, and just have fun and enjoy. If you're going to spend it with family, enjoy your families, enjoy your loved ones. And yeah, Happy New Year to you guys. I don't know that I'll be here on New Year's Day either. It's just kind of up in the air. So it depends on how busy the news is. I might be here because I'm actually not traveling. So I might be here. But tomorrow I won't. I will not. I will be enjoying New Year's Eve. I love you guys. Have a safe time. I love you. I will catch you guys in the next video, next stream. Bye-bye.